Thursday. My name is Lydia Kamakar, and as the AFCI Education Director, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Making the Most of Creativation. Before we begin, I'd like to remind the audience to please feel free to submit questions throughout the event via the Q&A box on your toolbar. We'll leave some time during the presentation and at the end to address questions. Today's presenters include some representatives from the AFCI staff team, including Peter Finn, AFCI Executive Director, Jason Baum, AFCI Membership Director, and Benjamin Rabe, the AFCI Events Director. We're also pleased to have Carolina Moore joining us today to share insights into goal planning and strategic preparation for the show, whether you're attending for the first time or coming back after many years. Carolina is the Vice Chair of AFCI's Digital Content Creator section and is going to be sharing a little more about her background in just a few minutes. So now I'd like to turn the call over to Peter Finn to kick us off. Please go ahead, Peter.
All right, well, thanks, Lydia, and welcome everyone. Just wanted to say we're really looking forward to seeing and meeting everyone, our exhibitors, our participants, and we really look at the Creativation event as a celebration of the industry, a celebration of our members, and I think that while you're there, you're going to feel as though this is truly a celebration. So, but before we kind of get into some other things, we'd like to know how many of you are, and I believe we have a poll, Lydia.
Yep.
How many folks this is their first Creativation event?
So I just put that up, so you should be seeing that pop onto your screen. We'll spend just a minute, half a minute or so having people respond.
And I should also admit this will be my first time. I joined AFCI about 5 months ago, so excited to meet more members and more of our sponsoring organizations.
That's great. And just to recap, as folks have filled this out, we've got some good responses. About 35% of you said you'll be your first event. Smaller percentage, about 6%, says that you've been there just about a year or two. And 59% have been going for years. So hopefully what we're going to be talking about today is both a refresher, but also some new information based on what we've got planned for this year in particular. So thank you for taking part in that poll.
Thank you. All right, and now I just wanted to also thank all the folks that make the Creativation show possible. That first, the Trade Show Task Force, and that's Jim Scatina, Lisa Kaiser, and Greg Tipsard. So we really appreciate all of their input and support and advice as we move along the planning process. We'd also like to thank our exhibitors and sponsors who in many ways help keep this event free to our members. And we also are excited about co-locating this year with TNNA. They will have a pavilion on the floor, and that's the National Neo-Arts Association, and we'll talk a little bit about that more later. And also you, the attendee. So we appreciate you being with us. I am excited to be able to meet as many people as I can while I'm on site in Phoenix. So just want to go through the agenda and what we have in store here. So we're going to go through what's new at Creativation 2020, how to prepare for the show, what to know before you go, what I wish I knew then, and any additional resources. So Carolina Moore is going to go through some of those things in addition to what we're going to be talking about with some of the new things around Creativation. But I think what Carolina has to share about kind of the tips or pro tips about how to get the best or how to have the best experience at Creativation will be very helpful for a lot of first timers. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the highlights.
Thank you, Peter. So I also just want to mention that this is actually the 79th annual Winter Show, Creativation, Mega Show. It's gone by a few different names in the 79 years that it's been around, but it's exciting that it's going to be headed into its 80th year in 2020, and obviously we'll be celebrating that in at the 2021 Creativation, but this is 79. This will be my 9th year, so my first was the 70th, and I'm looking forward to going again and to providing everybody with another great experience. What's new at Creativation 2020? We're starting with the My AFCI booth here. The My AFCI booth is going to be basically your one-stop shop to find anything out about AFCI. If you have questions about your membership, questions about, there's a lot of new right now, new faces, new staff, new strategic plan, new visions. That's the place to have that question answered. We'll have someone from our membership team there the whole time. And we will also have our designers will have an area where you can see their displays. We will also have an area dedicated to our benefits program. We're going to be switching to a new benefits program, but you won't be losing any benefits. If anything, you're going to be gaining a whole lot more that feature benefits mainly for your business. So savings programs on office supplies, on shipping, all those great things will continue and get even better. We also will have talks on the show floor with the workshop and seminar theaters. You'll be able to check out innovation talks. There are 30-minute presentations from a variety of presenters on trends and things like that. We're also excited about our partnership with TNNA this year, which many of you have probably seen and are aware of. They'll have a pavilion on the floor. They'll have education classes and connection opportunities. And we're really excited about this because it really broadens the category experience and the diversity of products that you'll be able to see on the show floor. So even if you own a paper store, for example, it never hurt to expand your product category line. And this is a good experience where you can get potentially all the shopping you need for your store in one location. And that's the idea of partnering with TNNA this year. We're also going to be expanding our networking opportunities, adding more networking opportunities. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about our various opportunities to network. But I just want to say that this is it's not different programs necessarily, but each one has a networking component, whereas in the past we might not have had that. We're really encouraging you to meet, to have that personal connection on the show floor and also off the show floor.
As we know, based on the surveys that we receive and evaluations that we've looked at, the education piece and the networking opportunities are always the top level items that come out as to why people attend. So we want to make sure that that's built in, the educational piece, but also, as Jason says, the opportunities for networking.
And also on that note, the roundtables area on the show floor will have small group discussions to facilitate more networking, but also timely discussions. Maybe what have you seen on the show floor today? Things like that. What are you most excited about? What trends are you seeing? So really trying to facilitate that conversation. And with that, I will turn it over to Benjamin for more networking opportunities.
Thanks, Jason. So we did add a couple of new networking opportunities, and we also changed them up a little bit. So in the past, on Thursday evening, we've always had a first-timers reception, but we've kind of rebranded this as a newcomers welcome and networking event. While there'll still be some new highlights that we'll be covering at the show for first-time attendees, at this event that night, there's going to be an opportunity to get a welcome cocktail on us. We'll have a networking game component to help you make some connections with some other first-time attendees. And also the first 100 folks that attend this event that walk through the doors will have an opportunity to win some prizes as well. Then on Friday evening, after a day of education, we will be having our new product showcase. We've moved this to the front of the show floor to put all the new products front and center. So it's going to be right inside the doors to the show this year. And it's an opportunity to, again, come and network with other attendees, but also see what new products are on display. And also this time, the new products, there will be some voting opportunities for attendees to vote on what new product they like the best. And then if you participate in the voting, you'll have a chance to win a prize as well. Then on Saturday, we're going to be having a happy hour on the show floor to celebrate the first day of Creativation being open. That will be taking place from 4 to 5. So all attendees with their badge will be getting a drink ticket, which you'll be able to then redeem during the happy hour on Saturday from 4 to 5. So we hope that you make plans to stay on the show floor the entire day and end it in a crescendo at the end of the day. Then on Saturday evening, after the show floor does close, we are going to have networking and panel discussion. This will be on trends similar to last year. That will be up on level 100. Then on Sunday evening, we'll be having our award industry celebration. And again, there'll be a chance for attendees to win some prizes there if you are able to stay until Sunday evening and watch all the people from our industry win their awards. And then also on Monday morning, before the show floor opens, we'll have our annual business meeting along with a light breakfast and a town hall, which will be an opportunity for you to give feedback on how Creativation went and some other new programs and services that you might want to see come from the association.
Great. Thank you, Benjamin. Just a couple notes about classes. If you haven't already signed up, definitely check out the class schedule on the website, on Creativation's website. You can sign up for both business seminars and workshops. Some are free to members, some have additional cost. If you do sign up for workshops and seminars, you're going to get a ticket printed with your badge that includes that agenda and the room location. But definitely check it out. We've got classes running Thursday, Friday, and then once the show opens throughout the week, either on the show floor or a few happening back in the meeting space. So definitely encourage you to look at that. I know we'll be talking more about some of the other educational opportunities at the event beyond the show floor, but want to make sure that you guys keep that top of mind. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Carolina to dive into a little bit more about really prepping for the show and keeping your goals in mind. Carolina?
Hey, everyone. So I'm Carolina Moore. I am a blogger and influencer, craft book author. As was mentioned, I'm the vice chair of the digital content creator section for AFCI. My background is in advertising, marketing, and sales. I have over a decade of experience and started off in Silicon Valley. I'm currently an MBA student at UCSD, graduating in June. I just finished my finals this quarter, so it feels really good to be done with those and doing a presentation here with you instead. And I run my own business in a digital and craft space, which is why I'm a member of AFCI. This will be my 9th trade show between the CHA mega shows and the Creativation shows. So I'm really, really excited to come again. For many of us, this is a must-attend event. So I'm really excited to see you there. Today, I have 6 tips that I'm going to be going through with you. Last year at Creativation, I taught a Making the Most Out of Creativation seminar, and it was the day before the show floor opened, which was helpful, but I think a lot of those tips are a lot more valuable if I give them to you now so you can plan ahead. Because the first one of my tips is, what is your goal? You want to begin with the end in mind. You need to know now, or at least before you get on that plane or before you get in the car, what are you trying to get out of the show? So at the very end of the show, Monday evening when you're hopping on that plane, or Tuesday morning when you're hopping on the plane to go home, and someone says, so was your show successful? What's the ruler that you're going to measure that against? And you need to decide that now, because there's no way you'll know if you were successful or not if you don't know what your goal was. So when we're talking about goals, we want to talk about SMART goals. And most of you have probably heard that before, but just in case it's new, a SMART goal isn't just that it's smart to have a goal. It's that it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time related. So what does that mean when we're talking about goals for coming to Creativation? Well, what that means is that, and I've got some examples. For example, I will find 5 new sponsors to connect with after the trade show. That's specific, 5, measurable, again, 5. It's achievable, and I know from having gone to 9, this will be my 9th show, that I can do 5. I can meet 5 new brands to work with. It's relevant because it's part of the reason that I'm going is to connect with companies. And it's time related because it's by the end of the trade show. It's got a deadline. Some other examples for you might be, by the end of Creativation, I'll have 40 new leads to follow up with. And that number will depend again on the industry that you're in. each day on the show floor, or for the entirety of the show, I want to find X dollars worth of business. Or even before the show ends, I want to find someone who can help me with my marketing for 2020, or with my email for 2020, or with my website, or with hiring employees, or with cleaning up my storefront, or how to deal with whatever issue that you're having, finance related, whatever parts of your business. This is the place where you can network and find those people. And I want you to keep top of mind when you're creating these goals that creativation is the top of the sales funnel. And what I mean by that is, as someone who's spent over a decade in sales, I used to know that it would take me 100 cold calls, like just calling someone randomly, in order to get at the end one piece of actual business. And that applies to creativation as well. My husband knows every time when I come home from a trade show, he says, "How was it?" And the answer I give him is, "Well, we'll know in 3 months how it was." Because it'll take time for all those leads at the top of the funnel to turn into actual business. So at the most, I have some really, really exciting conversations. And then at the beginning of the summer, I know how well those conversations turn into actual business. So remember that you want to have a lot at the top of the funnel, because some of it is going to filter out and it won't become actual dollar business. And that's okay. That's just the way, that's the nature of meeting people in person and then filtering out to the end of the process. So be mindful of your goals during the show. Don't just like write them down today or this week. You want to keep them top of mind, because anyone who's done goal setting will tell you that writing your goals down and keeping yourself accountable to those goals will make you more likely to be successful. So you can share your goals with an accountability partner. And that's often what I do. I have a couple roommates on the show floor, or at the show. And at the end of the day, we talk about how did we do? What are we trying to accomplish? How far have we gotten to that goal? And that helps out a lot. Another is, especially if you're rooming by yourself, to write down your goals and refer to them during meals at the show. I know I get crazy busy at the show, and sometimes my breakfast and lunch is at Power Bar, but I usually sit down for dinner. So that one meal, I can sit down and have a conversation, or just refer to myself and say, okay, how am I doing on those goals? How did I do today? And what do I need to change tomorrow in order to achieve these goals? Because we know creativation is a finite period of time. And at the end of the day on Monday, we won't have this opportunity until January of next year. So we want to make the most right now. Now, a question is, well, what if I miss my goals? Because goal setting is scary. And for any of us, the scariest part of goal setting is setting a goal that we don't achieve and feeling like a failure. Well, here are some failures of those goals I gave you earlier. 60% sounds like a failure, but 60% of 5 new sponsors is still 3 new sponsors. And that's 3 better than I was before I went to Creativation. 50%. In any grade school, they'll tell you that 50% is an absolute failure. But 50% of 40 new leads is still 20 new leads to help you run your business in 2020. And every dollar of new business is still a dollar of new business. And even if you didn't find a marketing resource, if that was a goal that you had to find a certain business resource, I guarantee you, by asking those questions of people and having the conversations, by the end of the show, you'll have refined your search parameters. You'll know better what you don't want. So while you may not achieve that goal, or you may achieve the goal, you'll definitely be closer to it at the end of the show than you were at the beginning, because you set those goals. So it's really, really hard to truly fail on these, because you'll still get closer. And really, when you're setting these big goals, and I had a boss who used to call them BHAGs, they're big, hairy, audacious goals. If you set a really, really BHAG and you achieve it, that may mean that you've been underestimating yourself this entire time. So feel free to make really huge, crazy goals, because there's always that chance that you'll make it. So that's my first tip, goal setting. Going on to my second tip, the education sessions. When I first started attending Creativation, I didn't attend education sessions. I only had a limited amount of time, and I thought the show floor was just the only place to be. And it's really, really not. There are so many great education sessions at the show. So you want to plan your education sessions based on the goals that you're trying to achieve. So if you have a goal of learning about SEO, guess what? I'm teaching a beginner SEO class. You're welcome. There's still room. Go ahead and sign up. There are all kinds of fantastic classes where you can learn and grow your business. And remember that the person at the very front of the room is not the only resource in that room. They're likely one of the most valuable resources, because AFCI spends a lot of time finding great speakers at these events. However, the people next to you could be valuable resources as well. In my SEO class, I guarantee there's going to be someone sitting there saying, oh, I've had these struggles, and they could be your next accountability partner as you make this a goal for yourself in 2020. And you can also ask other attendees about their experiences. What have you done? What has worked for you? How have you made these changes? What impact have you seen in your business so that you can understand the topic better? Although that person at the front of the room, absolutely the best. There's so many great people in that room that you can have conversations with and learn from, because they're all there to learn the same thing. My third tip is one that I almost didn't include because it's really one of my secret sauces when I go to these events, and that's to have a wing person. And all of my friends have heard me talk about this tip, and now you're here, you're one of my friends too, and I'll tell you all about my have a wing person tip. A wing person it's your wingman. It's your person who hangs out with you and helps make it easier to network. Some of us, like myself, are natural networkers. We're natural extroverts. I have no problem talking to a stranger. That's not the case for everyone. And even though I'm an extrovert, sometimes it's still awkward and I get my feet in my mouth and it's just weird to try to talk to a total stranger, and especially when you're trying to sell yourself. I got to introduce myself at the beginning of this segment of the session, and it didn't sound awkward that I was talking about myself, but that's because AFCI already set the groundwork, and they said, this is Carolina, and we have her here talking to you because she knows this stuff. And so you trusted what I was saying. And if you're just walking into a booth and saying, hey, I'm Carolina, and I'm awesome, and you should be working with me, it feels awkward, and it sounds awkward as well. So this is where the wing person comes in. They give you third-party credibility. They turn that warm call into a cold call because they can actually make the introduction for you. You're walking into a booth together. It's me and my friend Angie. Angie absolutely needs to work with this company. We walk in, we're looking around, someone comes up and greets us. We have that little bit of chit chat. And then I say, oh my goodness, have you met Angie? Have you talked to her before? You really need to work with her, and here's why. And I've now warmed that up for Angie. And then I leave after that introduction phase. Once it's clear that they're hitting it off, I can leave, they can have their conversation and have a really productive conversation that they might not have had if someone hadn't been able to give that information of why they should be working together. And if that introduction stalls, because not every introduction is meant to be, there's someone to walk away with you so that you're feeling like you have a more graceful exit, and it makes it so much more natural. So who is going to be your wing person? Well, your wing person can be anyone. It can be a friend, and I think that's really the best because your friends already love you and they already know what's amazing about you. So if you can have a friend as a wing person, that's ideal. A business partner is going to be very similar, but it can also be someone you just met, someone who knows the 3 best things about you and who can make that introduction. And always offer to be the wing person for your friend in exchange. If they're making an introduction for you, reciprocate and make an introduction for them somewhere else as well, if at all possible. And if you're really, really struggling to find a wing person, this is why I'm here with my face today. Find me. I'll be on the show floor, and I'm happy to see about making introductions for you because connecting people is my superpower, and I love to flex that muscle. Tip number 4 is networking events. Which networking events do you need to be at? AFCI is doing a fabulous job of adding more networking events and more opportunities to this show than ever before. So some of the ones that I've gone to in the past and that I really love are the New Product Expo. That's one of my favorites because there's so much energy, and I love being in a networking room with energy where everyone wants to just feel that buzz and everyone wants to have conversations. And there's a natural thing to talk about because we have all these new products in front of us. So what do you think is a really easy opening line to start a conversation with that person next to you? There are private events, and ask around within your segment of the industry about those private events. If you can't find an event that works for you, make one. Several years ago, the digital content creators said, you know what, we'd love to get to know each other before Saturday evening, where there was a big mixer for us. We love to know each other starting Thursday night and get to see our faces because what we look like in person is not at all what our avatars look like at all. So let's see if we can put something together Thursday night. And we did. And we opened that up to anyone who wanted to come. The designer section has a designer dinner that they started, which is another great networking opportunity. So AFCI does a fabulous job of setting them up, but that doesn't mean that that's the end of the line. You're welcome to put together a dinner or an event for people to come hang out with and have conversations. And when you're putting together or looking at these networking events, you want to think, who are the people that I need to connect with? In order to achieve those goals from step one, what kind of conversations do I need to have, and who do I need to have those with? So they might be bloggers and influencers, designers, they might be manufacturers, they might be distributors, it might be retailers. So you want to be where the people who you want to have the conversations with are going to be. So that brings me to tip number 5, and that's making appointments. This was the biggest miss last year that I wish I could have told attendees before they came to the show, and it's why we're having this conversation now. This week, dedicate time to start making appointments. You want to block time out on your calendar for appointments and for walking the floor, because both are important. Look at the show guide and see who's attending. We haven't talked about it on this call, but some of us may have been getting phone calls about selling lists. AFCI doesn't do that. There's no selling of lists. If you're attending the show, you can get access to the show guide. You can see the companies that are coming. You're a member of AFCI. You have access to the member directory. You can see which members may be attending, because a lot of them are, and just reach out to them. Say, hey, my name's Carolina Morton. I'm going to be at the show. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Do you have 15 minutes of time to meet with me? And you'll be surprised how many people say yes. It's a huge success ratio, because we're all going to be at the show. And you want to do that now, because I've found that some of the people that I want to meet with, they might only be there on Saturday, or they might only be there on Monday. And I want to make sure that I have the time to meet with them when they're going to be there. My recommendation for these meetings is that your most important contacts should be appointments over meals, because this gives you time off the show floor where there are less interruptions. I've had several meetings that I really feel like they could have been more productive, but the person I was talking to was really essential to the business and kept getting interrupted and interrupted because there were questions that only they could answer. But they're human, they need to eat, and they're looking for a reason to escape that booth for a little bit. And so if you can find a way to whisk them off the show floor and have a conversation over lunch, you'll be able to get even further, even faster, and you'll be their excuse to be able to go grab a bite to eat. That might be that one meal that they get today. So my last tip, tip number 6, is prepare, because failure to plan is planning for failure. So what are my biggest preparation tips? Well, attend this webinar, and you're already doing that, so you're already on your way to success. My second tip would be the pre-bag bag, and all of my friends know this as well, and since you're now one of my friends, you need to know this tip. The pre-bag bag is a bag, and it's just pick any fabric grocery bag or even a plastic bag, and I put it on the doorknob to my office because I work here from my home. I put it on the doorknob to my office, and any items that I'm going to need at the event, but I won't need between now and the event, I go ahead and put in that bag. I started this after a trip to Quilt Market where I spent a little bit of time at Kinko's redesigning business cards and having Kinko print them up because I'd forgotten my business cards. Those are one of the first things that go in my pre-bag bag. Phone chargers, extension cords, external battery packs, anything that I've promised someone, oh, when I see you, I have this thing for you. I go ahead and I put it in that bag already because I don't need to touch them 6 times between now and the trade show, but I want to make sure that they're there and I want to get them off my mind to clear my mind for more important things. So they go in that pre-bag bag, and the morning of, or sometimes the day before, if I'm lucky, when I'm packing my bag to go, I just grab that pre-bag bag and the major things are already packed for me. I'm really just worried about clothes and toiletries at that point. Speaking of clothes, wear comfortable shoes. There is carpet on the trade show floor, but if you're a trade show newbie, you should know that that's an illusion. It's really decorative. Trade show carpet, and it doesn't matter which trade show you go to, is really thin, and you're really just walking on concrete all day. So pack the kind of shoes that you would wear if you're going to be walking on concrete all day, because that's really what's happening. I would also recommend a comfortable bag for those of us who plan on picking up items or even papers, anything that you're going to carry around. You're going to be carrying it on you all day. So a backpack is fabulous, but if you want to be a little more stylish and you've got a shoulder bag that goes on one shoulder, make sure it has a really comfortable padded strap, because those bags can get really heavy by the end of the day and you're going to be walking with a limp. I'd also recommend that all those appointments that you made, put them someplace that's easy to access. If you're a paper planner person like I am, I'll make a copy of just the page with my appointments and I'll have that handy. I might take a screenshot of it and put it on my phone. Make those appointments easy to access so you're not fumbling trying to figure out where you need to be and when. And my last tip for preparation is download that Creativation app. They change it up a little every year, but it's so valuable. It has booth numbers, it has locations. There's all the education sessions. That Creativation app is really valuable. So go ahead and download that at home on your home Wi-Fi before you head out. Now, I mentioned traveling and my pre-bag bag. My current pre-bag bag is packed for a trip that I'm taking later this week. I will be out of the country for a couple weeks, but you are welcome to reach out to me, and hopefully I'll have some Wi-Fi access. You can email me at carolina@carolinamore.com, and if you're looking for me online, I'm at alwaysexpectmore.com or 30minutecrafts.com. And I hope that you found that helpful. And go ahead if anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Yep, as just mentioned, please use the question and answer box if you have any. We'll take a short break here to take some questions. I've seen a couple come in. One is more on the schedule side, and we will double check our timing. I think the slide has said that the industry awards start at 5 p.m. Our website says 4:30. So Benjamin, not sure if you have that handy, but we'll double check and make sure that we've got that accurate on the website and the app, and for consistency. So thank you for catching that. A couple of questions. Someone mentioned, you mentioned private events or things like that, and said, how do we connect about private events? I'm thinking that might be about how do you kind of find out about those. I'm not sure if you have some insights there.
I do, actually. The digital content creators, we've had so many new members come in under us or under the designers that we started, and I believe it was last year, it might have been the year before, putting together a one sheet of a lot of the different events that are going on so people can know about them, because most of these events, though they're private, they're not really exclusive. An event's more fun when people come, and so most people want people to come to these events. So the digital content creator section has that. I know we've created it, and I'll see about getting it to you, Lydia, so that it can get distributed further. If you want access to that, my email address is on the slide. Go ahead and email me, and I'll make sure you get on the list to get that out. We'll get that sent out to you so that you have that. Because, yeah, private and exclusive are two different things, and there's not a lot of exclusive. It's more about creating something kind of off the books, which AFCI is really lovely about making sure that everyone has things to go to and events to attend.
Great. A question: if you mentioned business cards, do you have any other tips of what materials we should have on hand for brands?
It's going to really depend on your business and what you're doing. Business cards are the most valuable, and it also sometimes depends on the brands. Some people like having square business cards, and there'll be brands who go, oh, this is really fabulous, this really stands out. And some will say, oh man, this isn't going to fit in my little file of facts that I use. So those kinds of things really depend. My personal preference from years in marketing and advertising is spend the most money you're comfortable with on a business card. A couple of years ago, I got the really, really thick, juicy business cards that are the heavy duty with the colored core. And every time I hand my business card to someone, first of all, I'm really proud of it because it looks really nice and it's a really good representation of my business. They haven't gone to my website. They don't know who I am. The first thing that they're getting is my business card, and it's quality. So that lets them know that I'm a quality person. So I'd say spend the most that you can on business cards, and very often they'll comment. They'll say, oh, this is a nice business card. Also, business cards do no good in your pocket. They do no good in your desk drawer. You want to pass out as many of those as possible. They only do good for you when they're out in the world. So don't be stingy about your cards and say, ooh, I only have, bring 150 cards and have a goal of trying to pass out all of them. That's an amazing goal. That's an amazing SMART goal. I want to pass out 150 business cards by the end of Creativation. And you'll be amazed how many people will reach out to you based on that. Oh, you were asking other materials. Some people do one sheets with their numbers and their analytics and their stats. I like to send that on afterwards because it's a good excuse to reach out to someone. Hey, we talked Creativation. I promised you that I would send you this thing, and here it is. It shows that I'm accountable and that I follow up, which are qualities that you'd want in someone that you're partnering with. So it gives you the opportunity to show that you're kind of that person, and it's one less thing that you have to carry around. But there are plenty of people who like to have that. So a lot of this is personal preference.
That's great. You just mentioned, following up after the show with more information. How long do you wait after the show to follow up with all of those leads that you reached out to? How do you organize that?
After my Creativation hangover is over, I suppose, that can be tricky because it's trying to find that right timing. If, let's say that you're not staying through Monday and you fly home Sunday night, and so Monday morning, you have free to be able to send out emails. The challenge is going to be that any of your contacts who did stay through Monday, when they get back to the office on Tuesday, they're going to have emails going all the way back to Wednesday, and your email is going to get lost. So you want to wait until the person that you're emailing has had a chance to get back to their office, has gone through those hundreds of emails in their inbox that accumulated while they were gone. So generally, I'd say at least 3 days, maybe a week. And then again, depending on what your schedule looks like, it doesn't hurt if it's a week and a half or even 2 weeks later.
Great. Well, again, thanks so much. We're going to go through a few more logistics and have some more time for questions at the end. But Caroline, again, thank you so much for a really great presentation around setting goals and getting people pumped.
My pleasure. And again, grab that contact information, take a screenshot so you can reach out to me if you have any questions.
Sounds good. All right, Benjamin, I'm going to turn things over to you to talk a little bit about hotel and registration and some other good stuff.
Thanks, Lydia. If you have not already registered, please do that as soon as possible. Also, if you haven't had a chance to book your hotel, you'll want to do that by Friday. Out of the 6 AFCI hotels that we have preferred room rates at in downtown Phoenix, all of our blocks are sold out except for the Residence and Sheraton. So you'll be able to register for rooms by going to our website and clicking on housing, and then picking which hotel you would like to stay at, and then making a reservation online. And if you would like to do a room block with larger rooms, we're able to help you put those through by just giving us a list of names and departure dates. And you can reach out to us by emailing our housing team at housing@creativeindustries.org. One other thing that I did want to remind everybody about is that AFCI does not sell your contact information, and we do not, as far as rooming lists, and we also don't reach out to you to book rooms. So be careful of any pirates or scammers that are out there trying to sell you either attendee lists or selling you hotel rooms at a discounted rate, other than going through the official links on our website. Unfortunately, there are some pirators and some people that are trying to scam attendees that are out there in the marketplace. So just a word of caution for everybody. And then as we're looking towards our mobile app, I know this was a question that was in the Q&A box earlier, but it will launch in early January. We are populating it now with all the latest information and also all of the exhibitor listings of the 200+ exhibitors that are going to be there. So they're all putting their information in the app in December, and we'll be sending an email to all registered attendees in early January when it's available to download through the Apple Store or through other app providers.
Great.
And just as a reminder, Creativation is taking place at the Phoenix Convention Center in downtown Phoenix. It is about 4 miles from the airport. There are links to book super shuttles to your hotels in downtown Phoenix. As an example, the rate for super shuttle to the Hyatt, which is across the street from the convention center, is $13. Lyft and Uber will usually run about $14 to $18, and if you want to take an old-fashioned taxi, you can do that for about $21 round trip, including tip and gratuity. Also, if you are driving or renting a car, you can park at the garages there at the convention center for $12 a day. And then once you arrive, you'll want to follow the signs and the welcome banners that we'll have hanging up that will tell you to go to the lower level. So you'll enter on the street level, and actually Creativation in the main registration area is on the lower level. So you want to pick up your badge and the mat along with your tickets if you register for any classes. That will get you in, and it will also get you onto the show floor as well. And for more information about what to do in Phoenix and other things that are going on while you're there, you can visit the Visit Phoenix website, which is the Convention and Visitor Bureau website, which is visitphoenix.com.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Benjamin, for those additional logistics, and we'll continue to have our website populated with answers to frequently asked questions, and as we mentioned, that mobile app will be going live in early January. before we get into some additional resources and questions, just wanted to share some quotes. We know that we heard some great stuff from Carolina, who's been going to the show, but we asked a few other folks that we work with, what is something that they wish they knew when they first started going to the show that they now make sure to pay attention to or make sure to think about. So we'll be peppering some of these quotes and some others in our social media, and as we're sending out some reminders about this recording that will be on the website and getting people ready for the show. But just wanted to put this up to show this range of people saying, they wish they would have taken advantage of more education. They really have grown to love the new product showcase. They wish they would have stayed a little closer that first year so that they could take advantage of those evening events and get-togethers versus needing to kind of, get in a car and head back 30 miles away. Really thinking about everyone you meet could be a potential connection. So putting this up here, but you'll see these quotes and things peppered through our website and social media moving forward. And if you've got your own story or your own comment that you want to share, please do use our hashtag for the show and get out there and talk about it, because the more that our first-time attendees feel prepared, the better experience they're going to have, and for both their first year and when they come back. So just a few notes here to keep in mind. Finally, along with this webinar, we wanted to make sure that you knew that there was a lot of other resources out there. First up, we have an article through Inspired, our content hub on the website, around how to get the most out of your time at Creativation. It reinforces some of the things you heard today, as well as some additional tips. Encourage you to check out a blog post from Cindy DeRosier around preparing for Creativation, with some great tips around, getting around Phoenix, tips for packing, what to wear, things along those lines. And finally, if there's any exhibitors on the line, last week there was an exhibitor webinar recorded that is on your exhibitor resource page that hopefully answers a lot of questions about you guys getting ready for the show. These links, I know you can't see what the actual links are right here, but we will include those in the PDF of these slides that you can click through to, and we'll also highlight those links in some follow-up emails when we have this recording posted to the website. So just want to make sure that you know that there's some other resources out there to take advantage of. So with that, we want to spend a little bit of time that we have left taking any additional questions that you guys might have. I'm going to just open up that Q&A box and give folks a minute or two. If you've got anything additional that we haven't already covered, something that you want to make sure to cover. Again, just to repeat, we did record today's webinar, and we'll put that on the Creativation website within the next few days, since we know you might not have been able to take a note on everything, or we know that there's some folks that were interested and just couldn't make the live event. So with that, I'll pause for a minute and see if there's questions coming in. We did have a few questions come in from people when they were registering. Jason or Peter, could you talk a little bit about members who identify within different member types and how they should best register, or what their options are in that case?
Sure. We are looking at this for next year to be a little bit of an easier process. But right now, as long as you qualify for another membership, then you can contact the membership team. And our phone number, I believe, is going to be in a later slide, and also is on the website. And you can give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'll set you up with a dual membership, and we'll get you a secondary badge so that you can have multiple badges. But the only thing is you just have to qualify for that membership, and then you'll be able to get that. So give us a call. The membership qualifications, all that is on the AFCI page under Join Us, and you can read further on that there.
Great.
And if you need that phone number, it's 312-321-6811. And then you can also email us at info@creativeindustries.org, which is
Great.
at the bottom of this page.
Great, thanks, Jason. Benjamin, could you speak to the Wi-Fi that will be available at the center?
Our plans are to have, there will be Wi-Fi in the My AFCI booth, but it will not be available throughout the entire convention center just due to cost to do that. But those attendees that do need to get Wi-Fi to maybe download the app or check a couple of things, you'll be able to do that from the hub that will be in the My AFCI booth. So it'll be limited access, but there will be access available in the center of the show floor.
Great, thank you. Question around the vendors on the show floor. If we choose to purchase items from them, do they take all types of payments, cards, cash, checks? What's typical on the show floor for those guys?
Unfortunately, this is Benjamin. I don't know what's typical. I think we would have to probably double check and maybe get back to you on that. I just don't know what's typical with these vendors. So sorry, I'm not able to answer that one.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll look into that a little further, and we'll share some feedback in written form after. Just a clarifying on the Wi-Fi, we talked about the show floor for the education days, which is Thursday and Friday in the meeting space. I believe that it is not available there, but just wanted to double check, Benjamin, if you had any different information.
That's correct. It's not available in the actual classrooms on show days, but if you are staying at an AFCI hotel, one thing that you will want to do is make sure that you sign up for the loyalty program. So if you sign up at Hyatt for their Gold Passport program or the Bonvoy program, if you're staying at one of the Marriott hotels, you will be able to get free Wi-Fi in your hotel room. So I encourage you to do that if you need access to Wi-Fi and download stuff from your hotel room.
Great. Another question around the show floor. Are we allowed to take videos as we walk around the show floor?
You are. Attendees are allowed to take videos and take pictures. The only rule that we have is that if you are an exhibiting company, you are only allowed to take videos and pictures of your exhibiting, your own booth. You can't take pictures of other exhibitor booths, and that something that's in the rules and regulations with exhibitors. But for all those folks that are on this webinar, I'm assuming most of you are attendees, in which case you're able to take as many pictures and videos as you want.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm going to leave this up for one more minute, but in the meantime, I'm going to launch a poll that just asks a few questions as a survey for today's webinar. We'd like to gather some feedback so we can keep improving the way that we're communicating with you guys and the webinar programs that we have and getting you ready for Creativation. So if you can take a moment to fill that out, we appreciate it, and we'll be able to take that feedback and improve for next year. If there's any other questions, again, I'll leave that open for just another minute. Otherwise, we really want to thank you guys and our presenters, especially Carolina, for really taking some time and sharing some insights with everybody online today. Otherwise, have a great day, and we're going to see you in Phoenix. And I don't see any other questions at this time. But like I said, we've got the email address up here. Jason shared the number that we'll include in some follow-up communication if you do have any specific questions that you'd like to ask of us. All right, and with that, we will close things out and say thank you. Have a great day, everybody.